When we started out this whole conversation about maxima and minima, I made a big point of distinguishing between relative and absolute maxima and minima. And so far, what we've done is find and classify things as relative maxima, relative minima, or saddle points. But we haven't actually talked about finding the absolute maximum or minimum of a function. And so we're going to go through the steps to do that right now, and then we'll do an example. And that's our last type of classification problem. So these are, again, going to be a list of steps that you'll just want to save somewhere in order to do this type of problem. So if you want the absolute maximum and minimum, you're going to actually start the problem about the same way as before. So if you're given some z equal to f of xy, just can't have z's hanging around. You're going to calculate your gradient function. And you're going to find critical points where your gradient function is 0. That's kind of how we started all these other problems. But after that, things are going to differ. And the way they're going to differ is whenever you're finding an absolute maximum or minimum, oops, did too much there. You're going to have to be restricted to some sort of domain. And so your third step is going to be identify the points that are on the boundary of your domain. So for example, if the domain was 0 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 7, that means your boundary is x equals 0, x equals 7. You can kind of imagine here's a number line, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know, 0, 7. That's a whole domain. And your boundary is just the edges of that domain. Oops, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we're going to be doing this for functions of 2 variables, so you'll have domains in the x and y directions. And so now instead of just finding critical points, you find critical points and boundary points. And then instead of using your discriminant test, you're actually just going to calculate directly f of xy for all points you just found in steps 2 and 3. And then you're just going to identify the highest and lowest values of f as the absolute maximum, absolute maximum and minimum values. And we're going to go ahead and do an example of this next.